Do you copy? K1GZL.
Roger there. You say you had antenna damage?
Oh, yes. Yes. We had 5 inches of extremely heavy wet snow the night before last. It did a job. It really did a job. The director and reflector on my quad held up all right. However, the driven element, the top of it, of the diamond-shaped quad, is supported from a rope going from high up on 2 telephone poles, and that broke loose from the heavy wet snow. It's been up there for years and years. Broke loose and came crashing halfway down. My SWR is well over 2 to 1. However, the darn thing is working, and I'm on reduced power. And I'm also on another microphone, a Heil Classic. However, I have an HM19 Heil cartridge in the microphone. I've got a very short, interesting story I'd like to tell you about a coincidence, 10,000 to 1, that occurred to me when I was in the Navy. Go ahead.
All right. Just looking at the signal, are you using an external antenna tuner?
No, I don't have a tuner, unfortunately. I try to get near resonance on my antennas, but unfortunately I don't. As long as you can copy, all right, maybe I can get away with it. Go ahead.
Roger, you're about 9 dB above my noise level. Usually you're like a 10 or 12, but you are making the trip. So let's try it. This is KC9VKV with the Friday morning Qso-Vlog for 10/26/18 on today 7193 because of circumstances on the main channel that we had to move up a tad to try to back down on the QRM. So KC9VKV, go ahead with the story there.
Okay, and this is Charlie, K1 Germany, 0 London, and Clarksville, northern New Hampshire. I want to tell you about a coincidence which is unbelievable, which occurred to me in the Navy. I had only been in about 9 months, and I was waiting over in Yokosuka, Japan. I was on temporary active duty from Waihawa in Hawaii, and I was at Navy 85, about 12 miles north of Honolulu. And but I was sent over to Japan for a 7-month temporary active duty deal, and I had to report aboard an aircraft carrier, the Lake Champlain CVA-39. CVA-39. I was in. We were getting ready to get aboard. It was lunchtime. There was extreme heat and humidity. It was absolutely as humid as you could imagine. There were thousands and thousands of sailors standing around with their various vessels, and I happened to run into this fellow, and I asked him. I said, "Are you on the Lake Champlain?" And he said, "Yes, yes, I am." I said, "Well, tell me, is it chicken? What's it like? Is it very strict?" He says, "Well, it's not bad. I've only been on for a short time, but yeah, it takes a long time to find your way around on the carrier." So I said, "Well, I'm a radio operator, and I'm going aboard in a few hours. How long have you been in the Navy?" I asked him. And he told me, "Well, I've been in the Navy just about 4 months." I said, "Well, that's interesting. My brother's been in the Navy for 4 months. By the way, my name is Charlie Morgan." And he said, "Well, I'm Dan Peters. My name is Dan Peters." So I said, I asked him, I said, "Where did you go through boot camp. Where did you go through the basic training? And they said, well, I went through Great Lakes. And I said, well, you know, that's interesting. My brother went through Great Lakes. In fact, if I can remember right, he was in company, let's see, yes, 464th. 464th. And he froze. He stood there and froze. And generally there's about 60 men in each barracks. So he said to me, is your brother Jim Morgan? I said, my gosh, you knew my brother. Not only did I know him, he slept over me. What do you think of that, Jim? Go ahead.
Well, obviously, a small world. You just never know. In the middle of nowhere, you'll run up against somebody that is your best friend's buddy. Roger, Roger.
Roger. It was a shock. And they wrote back and forth for a while, and he was describing my brother's girlfriend at the time on his locker, and I knew he was exactly right. He was exactly right. But I'll tell you, when you consider the heat and humidity, and everybody is melting, and we both froze in our tracks. Thousands and thousands of guys up and down waiting for, outside of their shift. And I'll tell you, I had chills on my back that I don't think I've ever had since. Go ahead.
Roger. Now, Charlie, I'm gonna ask you to look at your ALC. I know you changed mics a little bit there. Check your ALC. I think you might be a little low on your ALC. Your signal is usually fatter. So check your ALC. Maybe pump up your mic to bring your ALC to mid-range, mid-scale.
Okay, wait a minute. I'd have to play with this thing. Yeah, wait a minute. I'm trying to get it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. But my voice is a little bit out. This morning. I made a change. Go ahead.
Roger. Yeah, I think, most folks don't realize that when you change mics, you got to go back into your ALC and be sure that your mic level is driving your ALC to mid-scale or two-thirds. I prefer two-thirds, but at least mid-scale, because that's the fattening of your audio. That's the first place that starts. I run across a guy that says, hey, I don't run any compression. Well, that's what your ALC is doing there. It's fattening up your signal. It's not really compression. It's more on the limiting side, but the end result is a fattening of the audio. Only difference is the attack and release time of the limiter versus the compressor. Roger.
Okay. Roger on that, Jim. Well, look, Jim, I'm going to let you get back and pick up some others. Some others there, because I know you have a group here, and it's always a pleasure working you there. So thanks a million. By the way, it's a beautiful sunny day up here on this 26th of October, and the temperature is up in the middle 20s at -3 Celsius, and we have 3 inches of snow on the ground here at the present time. It's a fantastic day with a storm tomorrow turning snow to rain, unfortunately. Okay, 73, Jim. And look, I won't hold it any further, but thank you very much for picking me up. But my voice is out here a little bit. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie, 3ZOH. And before you go, I just want to let you know that I am going to be conducting some experiments this afternoon at 3:30 on hopefully 7193, but somewhere in that area, just to check out the difference between the morning propagation and the afternoon propagation. So it'll be about 3:30, hopefully on 7193. Roger, Roger.
Oh, Roger, Roger. I'll try to make it, Jim. I'll try to make it. And you're 10 to 20 over 9 here. You're just as strong as you were last week when the antenna was working. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Well, gosh, a 2 is not going to affect that much. I mean, as far as efficiencies, it plays heck with the finals. Probably on the edge of the cliff, the edge of the ledge. You don't want to run that too much, but and as far as the signal loss or gain, it's not that big a thing. It's just, I really love to play the game, get in on down there at 1.01 to 1 or like that, but then Mother Nature comes along and she has totally different ideas about your antennas and where they should be. So 3's Charlie, and maybe with any luck we'll catch up with each other this afternoon on this frequency as we ponder the pros and cons of morning or afternoon Qso-Vlog recording. This is KC9VKV.
Okay, very fine there, Jim. Beautiful, beautiful copy up here, just as clear as a bell. All right, I'll try to make that. And it's always a pleasure. But excuse my voice; it's a little KC9VKV K1GZL. Thank you again.
Roger, Roger. Charlie 3 set away. This is the Friday morning Qso-Vlog recording session, moving off of our normal frequency of 7189. Normally we're on 7189, but this morning, due to QRM and whatever, we had to move up to 7193. So if anybody's got a radio they want to check out the audio, give me a shout. We'll record it and post it up on YouTube, and you'll be able to go there and hear your audio in pristine form. This is KC9VKV.
Very good, Jim. And good morning, Charlie.
Come back with the call sign one more time. Okay, you're right at my noise level. I got Kilo Echo. Come back with the rest. Roger, Roger, sir. Now, let me see. You're running 100 watts, and you're in Philadelphia. Roger, Roger. I was making light of the situation. I don't use a computer to look up the call signs. I haven't advanced that far. I'm more a jot it down on a piece of paper, and hopefully I don't doodle over it. Good morning.
Supposed to be relatively decent audio coming from this microphone, but if you can't hear me, then I guess there's not a whole lot of a point to it. So, but what is your channel on YouTube, over?
Okay, the way to do that is you go to YouTube and you do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. And I'll repeat the call sign. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that'll take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And what you want to do is find a segment that's called My Group Aircheck, and it'll have the date of 10/26/18 and the frequency today of 7193. Usually we're on 7189, but we had some QRM and we had to move up, so today's will be 7193. Roger, roger.
Roger, roger. Roger, roger. 73 from Alpha, Bravo Radio.
Okay, now your signal came up there just a little bit. You came up to about a 5 dB or so above my noise level, so you were about a 2. So you know we're having conditions that are not advantageous for 100 watts this morning. You are running about 100 watts, Roger?
About 100 watts, yes. So running a FCG40 and I'm typing a SS data 57 alpha to the radio. Just with a 8-pin round to 3-pin XOR, and using the flip switch for push to talk. Over.
Oh, roger that. And just out of curiosity, you have checked your ALC and your modulation. You're running about mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC. Roger, roger.
Roger, roger. And I'm not too familiar with the ALC. Is that
Roger, roger. I wish I had a better copy. And now, FYI, we are conducting tests in the afternoon to see if maybe afternoon recording times might be better than morning recording times regards 100 watters coming in from 300 and 400 miles away. Seems like in the morning 100 watts 300 to 400 miles away comes in at maybe 2 dB above my noise level. I'm looking at a VU meter on the output of the radio, so you know, I can't do an actual S meter reading because I'm detuned RF-wise and just inserting just as much as needed to get the job down, so we don't have any compression anomalies that would cause you know, the audio to be less than what it is. So anyway, about 3:30 this afternoon, we should be on 7189 with any luck at all, and you know, trying to test out 100-watt stations from 300, 400, 500 miles away. Roger, roger.
Roger, roger. I will still look up on YouTube for my just trying to get into the audio part of this stuff. We're going to start the years to
Roger, roger. What was the name up that way?
The name is Nick. I'm under English.
Was that Nick?
Roger, roger.
Okay, Nick, just from what I could copy on your signal, you might think about maybe putting a little more top-end EQ on your mic there. Maybe just a little bit more top-end EQ, because it was kind of mid-rangey. Roger, roger.
Roger, roger. Give me 3 seconds here. I'll switch up microphones here. And actually I can just see what we're on. Contact.
Stand by, station. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead and make your EQ adjustment there. And contact station, stand by just a moment, please.
Okay, and I just switched my microphone to a cheaper microphone, but it's supposed to have a bit more mid-range, a little bit higher frequency audio. Over.
Roger. Now you need to check your ALC, because that seems a little hot. Sounds a little distorted. You might be too hot on your ALC. Roger, roger.
Roger, I need to get the ALC realigned. The person who had it last time had messed with all the meter settings and all that sort of stuff, and I retuned it back to normal, at least for the S meter. So I was able to realign the ALC to 100 now.
Roger, roger, Nick. Well, I would advise you come down 2 clicks on your mic level. Come down 2 clicks on your mic level, and let's see where that goes.
All right, 2 clicks more. Over.
All right, 2 clicks more.
Here's 3 clicks more.
Oh, hey, you're starting to clean up.
And power's a little lower as well. Let's see here. How about that?
Looks pretty good. You getting your power out there?
Yeah, I'm getting my power out. So basically, the Shure Beta 57A is about 120 ohm load, and this microphone that I'm using now is a 600 ohm, approximately nominal. So my assumption would be that I would have to drive the 600 ohm microphone a little bit less, or I would need a little bit less mic gain for that. Over.
Roger, you might still be a little warm. Come down one click from where you are.
Here's back to where you said I was cleaning up.
All right, talk to me for a minute.
All right, this is down a click.
All right, and your signal power out is about correct?
Yeah, it's about correct. So I talk pretty loud too, and here's a little bit further away from the microphone here. I'm backing up from the mic, and now I'm right up on the microphone again.
I'd stay up on mic, sir. Sounding good. A lot better. I think you were pretty distorted before. You know, that ALC meter is really, really important. It's too bad that yours is malfunctioning, you know.
Well, I work for a company called, or a store called Radio City. They're actually closing down, but I have equipment at my disposal when I'm off to actually be able to take my own radios in and realign them. So that's the beauty of the situation. Over.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, you know, you can always figure out what your normal modulation is. You know, like turn the mic up quite a bit higher than what you normally do. Take a look at your watt meter, see where it is, then back your mic gain all the way down, and then start your and bring it up slowly until you are almost where you were. You'll be a little bit lower, but you know, and that way you'll have adjusted your mic to just the almost perfect volume. Roger.
Okay, I like that technique. I appreciate that information. From Kilo Alpha Bravo Radio. I'll let the contacts go now. 7-3, thank you so much for all the information. And I will talk to you again sometime maybe on one.
Frequencies in use.
13 Echo 0, American Best Radio.
Roger, Roger, Nick. All right, and if you can join us this afternoon about 3:30 on 7189 as we check out the differences between morning propagation and evening propagation. 3 is that away. And the contact station, go ahead.
Yeah, Roger, thank you. This is Alpha Bravo 9, Tango X-Ray Mobile. I am mobile. I didn't catch your call sign, but I'm running an FT891 mobile rig with a hand mic, and I was just curious. It has 2 switch positions on the back of the mic. I was just going to flip between the 2. Over.
All righty. Why don't you give me a 10 count, and at 5 switch from one to the other.
You're 10 D. I have you 10 dB over S9 here in Wisconsin. Name is Earl. Echo Alpha Romeo Lima. Appreciate it, sir. This is position 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Position 2, position 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Over.
Roger, Roger. Good test, but unfortunately Mother Nature pulled the plug. She put about a 10 dB signal loss during that test, and I didn't want to adjust my volume because in an A/B test you want to stay stationary. You can't tell much when you move your volume from one point to the other. So I think the thing we need to do is, Earl, is try it again. Roger.
Okay, Roger that. Sorry for the fade. Like I said, I am mobile, and I'm driving to work. So just a quick test. Here's position 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Position 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Roger, Roger, Earl. As near as I can tell, your position 2 is a low-frequency cut. Position 2 sounded like it was a low-frequency cut, and I think you sounded better on position 2, Roger.
Okay, roger that. Thank you, sir. I'll let you get back to your chat, and I didn't get your call sign and name, over.
Roger, your call is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and we are Qso-Vlog recording this morning. Normally on Friday mornings we're on 7189 between 10:30 and noon, but because of some QRM we had to move up to 7193. So if you would like to hear what your audio sounded like, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and I'll repeat that, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and then you look for a segment that's called My Group Aircheck, and it then will have today's date, 10/26/18, and the frequency today being 7193. Roger, Roger.
Kilo Charlie 9, Kilo Victor Kilo, I believe that was. Roger that, appreciate it, and thank you very much. Like I said, the hand mic comes with 2 positions, and I think one is for narrowing up the filter a little bit. It's sort of a low-pass filter, like you said, in the microphone, mainly for narrower response, and position 1 is for just regular reg chew, if you will. So very good, sir. Again, my name is Earl, location Wisconsin. I'm just arriving at work. You have a beautiful signal here. I'm not sure where you're located. Like I said, it's 10 dB over S9 on my mobile rig. I'm just there flipping to a ATAS 120 screwdriver antenna, so that's the rig here. So back to you, and send it to also, 89 TX Mobile.
Roger, Earl, one more time phonetically with your call sign, please.
Call sign here is Alpha Bravo 9, Tango X-Ray 89TX, over.
Alpha Bravo 9, Tango X-Ray, is that it?
QSL.
Roger, Roger, Roger there, sir. And that mobile's doing pretty good for where you are. What is your location?
I'm located in northeastern Wisconsin, north of Green Bay, near the border of Green Bay in Wisconsin, over.
Roger, Roger. Well, that mobile's getting out, sir. And like I said, the call sign here is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. So when you go to YouTube, use that call sign to search, and then you'll be on our Qso-Vlog page, and then you can find the Qso. And our location is right next door to Louisville, Kentucky. We're about 3 miles from downtown Louisville on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio River. Roger.
Right, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Very good, sir. Well, I appreciate it, and an excellent signal and audio up here. So it's just like you're sitting next to me. 89TX Mobile, 73, sir. Have a good day.
Roger, Roger. In your final signal strength, you were 7 dB above my noise level. You were 7 dB above my noise level. So that's a pretty good signal coming out of that mobile. Have a good day, sir. This is KC9VKV.
Kilo Echo 8, Echo, Quebec, India.
Kilo Echo 8 station. Come back with the call sign.
Kilo Echo 8, Echo, Quebec, India.
Roger, Roger. And the name?
The name is Charlie. The name is Charlie, and QTH is East Central Ohio.
Well, Roger that. Good signal this morning. Come back and talk to me for a minute about your station.
Okay, very good. I love the concept of what you're doing here, allowing people to check their signal and their sound quality. You often wonder what it's going to be like. Working conditions an FT991, and a folded 80-meter dipole tuned down for the 40-meter. And as far as power, I think our peaks hit about 125 to 150 watts.
Wow, great signal for that amount of power, sir. Your antenna's doing you a great job, Roger.
Thank you very much. It's a homemade folded dipole with two 1-to-1 balun and a 4-to-1 balun on it, all homemade.
Roger, Roger. What's the end result SWR-wise?
It's only resonant on one band, and that happens to be the 80-meter, and it has very wide band, about a 1.2 to 1, and on the other bands it's extremely bad. It's about a 3 to 1 on 40 meters, but I tune it in with a MFJ tuner.
Roger, Roger. You could almost tune that in if you had your radio. I think the radios normally can tune a 3 normally. But so those outdoor antenna tuners, I think, can go up to a 6, Roger.
Yeah, the FT1 or FT991 tuner, they like to see it at a 2, but they claim it can do under 3.
Roger, Roger. Well, whatever it takes to keep the radio happy, or the box, or whatever your final output is, Roger.
Roger. Well, any comments on the audio?
Oh, no, I think the audio is fine. I'd just leave that. Tell me just a little bit about maybe how you got into amateur radio. I'm going to start a new thing here with a question of just exactly how you managed to get into ham radio.
Okay. Well, I'm probably not going to fit your typical format there. I got my original ham license in 1980 as a novice, and was in for 5 years, and loved the hobby quite a bit, but life got busy, and I got away from radio for about 35 years, and after I retired, I got back into it a few years ago, and just have more time now, and kids are all grown and gone, and I'm just enjoying the hobby quite a bit. Yourself?
Oh, Roger, Roger. Well, it sounds like me. I was in commercial radio for 50 years, and I always wanted to be an amateur radio operator, but I never could find the time. And, for the longest time, the code requirements kind of took care of my wanting to be a ham operator, because I just could not comprehend the code. And then after, the FCC decided to do away with the code, and I retired, I had time to follow my quest, and so I guess I've been doing things for about 6 years on amateur radio, and I just find it so immensely interesting, the different aspects of ham radio, the different frequencies, bands, types of modulation, just antennas. I spent 2 years as a technician on 10 meters, because I just that was a time where every day almost I was talking to California, so I didn't mind being on 10 meters, and I developed a couple 3 antennas just for 10 meters. I had a quarter wave about 35 foot up the tower, and then I had a 5/8 that was about 15 feet off the ground, and then I built a full wave loop antenna. This is a vertical loop with a rotor underneath it, and boy, I really enjoyed that thing. It was just unbelievably quiet, and it would give me 20s over from California every day. Roger?
Oh, roger that. Sounds like a familiar background there. I do enjoy tinkering and playing with things and testing things out and see how they work. I find that fascinating. Sometimes it doesn't take all that much, a little bit of time and ingenuity, and you can have a pretty good setup. Thank you very much for your Qso today, and I'm looking forward to listening to my tone quality and sound quality and see how it sounds on YouTube. I think what you're doing here is a very good effort, and I think this is a great thing. I really do. A lot of people need a little bit of help, and it's hard to hear yourself. So I want to say thank you. You're doing a great job there. And with that, I'll say 73s to you, and you have a great day. And I have your call as Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. This is KE8EQI. I'll be clear on your final.
Roger, Charlie. 3Z away, sir. Like I say, your audio, I think, is beautiful. And your last signal, you were a good 10 to 11 dB above my noise level. So really just an excellent signal there, and you'll be able to tell just absolutely, to perfection what your audio sounds like. A very nice signal. 3Z away, sir. Have a good day, and the pleasure's been on this end. This is KC9VKV.
KL7IEK.
Station IEK. Come back with the call sign phonetically again.
Kilowatt Lima 7, India Echo Kilowatt. Good morning, Jim.
Hi, good morning. How goes it?
Oh, not too bad. Name's George here on the other end. And I hope I didn't interfere with you doing the net this morning. I kind of ran over on 7191. If you were down on 89 or trying to get on 89, we normally finish the net up about 9 o'clock, but I wanted to jump in here and say if you were down there that early, the net might have been there. So, like I said, I ran about 15 minutes over.
Roger, was it George?
Roger that.
My handwriting is, I should be a doctor, George, I didn't start until 10:30. Usually our schedule runs 10:30 to noontime or thereabouts, so, it was 10:30, and so we just moved up a few, Roger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've been running the net since 1963 on 7191. It's the recreational vehicle service net between 0700 and 0900. So I didn't know what time you'd gotten started, but for some reason everybody waited to the last minute to check in today, and I ran about 15 minutes over.
Oh, Roger. Now, do you have rotating net controllers, or do you do the whole thing yourself?
Oh, no, we have, we've got 3 40-meter bands that go from the west coast through the mountain section and then to the east coast, and they operate on different frequencies. But we probably have 50 net controllers in all.
Roger. Well, now, let me kind of pick your brain for a minute. You're pretty much around the middle part of 40 meters?
Well, generally we're in this area. I believe 7186 might be one of our frequencies. I'd have to look it up. My memory's not as good as it used to be. And then, of course, 7191. But we have a web page. It's called rvnet.wbcci.net. That's rvnet.wbcci.net. I'll kind of tell you all about us there if you got a computer around.
Roger. Well, I was just going to ask you, do you have an opinion about 40 meters as far as being have better conditions in the morning, like at 10:30? I'm trying to get my 100 watters a better signal in. And right now, 100 watts at 300 or 400 miles at 10:30 in the morning comes in at about 2 dB above my noise level. And I'm just wondering, you have some experience on 40, and if the afternoon, like about 3:30, might be a better time, Roger? Well,
I think usually before the sun rises, the band is very long. We have stations checking into the net from Dakota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Illinois, those stations who check in generally between 0700 and 0800, and then between 0800 and 0900, the Eastern Time, the Florida stations start coming in, West Virginia, Maryland, most of the East Coast stations. So as the sun rises, of course, it squeezes the atmosphere and creates a shorter skip path, I think, for radio signals. But, you know, it's always hard to tell with the lack of sunspots. We've had 40 meters. All the bands have been pretty bad. So we're going into another minimum. So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. I'm sorry, somebody was talking to me here, and I was trying to go in two directions at the same time, and I've got a one-track mind.
Roger. All right, let me put it to you this way. If you had to make a call that had to go, would you do that in the morning or the afternoon?
If I had to make a call as far as within 300 to 400 miles?
Roger, roger.
I would say between probably about noon and 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Roger, roger. Thank you, sir. We did one test the other day at about 3:30, and I thought things sounded just a little bit better then, but we'll be doing another test this afternoon about 3:30 to check it again and see what's happening. But anyway, appreciate the shot there, and like I say, we are Qso-Vlog recording, so if you'd like to take advantage and hear what your station sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll find a session called my group Aircheck, and it's dated 10/26/18, today's date, and the frequency 7193. Roger.
Okay, well, appreciate that. I always hate hearing myself talk. For some reason, your voice always sounds terrible to yourself. So, but I will certainly look at that. In fact, I did pull up some of your YouTube pages here, and I saw one of your posts on here about. Let me go up here and see somebody I used to talk to a lot from Rump, and I just had a total loss of thought again. Art Bell.
Roger, roger. Yes, unfortunately, he passed a few months ago, and that's really unfortunate because all things said and done, he was the master at, I think, keeping talk radio interesting. Roger.
Yeah, I had talked to him a couple of times when him and his family were over in the Philippines, and then, of course, I guess he came back, but I didn't know he passed. I'm sorry to hear that. That's sad. And wonder if you know Gary Ritchie, W-8-O-I. He was in broadcasting for many years.
Name sounds familiar, but I can't say that I do. Absolutely, Roger.
Okay, he is from West Virginia, and he does a lot of work with the ham radio museum up there. They have a big ham radio museum in West Virginia, and I was trying to think of the name of the town it was in, but it again slipped my mind, and that goes with our age, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I wind up in a room and say, hey, what am I doing here? You have to write yourself notes, as far as what you're doing.
All right. Well, Jim, it was great talking to you. I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and it sounds like you're having a lot of fun doing it, and that's what ham radio is all about. So kudos to you on that, and hope you have a great time doing your research. And I think it's wonderful what you're doing with other stations, especially since I've been in ham radio for, I guess, 50 years. I started it with oh, man, I better go get another cup of coffee here. A Mars radio running traffic between Alaska and Vietnam, and that back to the States and so forth. So that's how I kind of got into it. And never did own a Collins radio of my own, but always wanted one there. They had a great station and everything. So anyway, 730 Steve McFriend. I won't take up much more of your time. I know you got a lot going on there, and I know there's a lot of stations that like to hear the recording. So you have a wonderful time at it. 7 threes to you, and have a wonderful weekend. It's going to be kind of wet.
KL7IEK in the beautiful town of Warner Robins, Georgia. 7-3, my friend.
Roger, Roger, George. 3Z away, sir, and thanks for dropping by. If you hear me in there, drop by and say hello anytime. We'd love to have you on board. And lots of luck and the great job you're doing as far as the RVs, man. It must be nice to be traveling across this country and being able to stay in communication with, a home base or, at least somebody that's listening out for you. So 3Z away, George. This is KC9VKV. The Kilo Echo 4 station, come back with the call sign phonetically again, please.
Okay, my name is Bill Bravo India Lima Lima. I am Kilo Echo 4 via Foxtrot Indigo on I-20 westbound, USA and South Carolina.
Okay, got South Carolina and Kilo Echo 4, and then give me the last half of that, Roger. India Foxtrot and the last? India Foxtrot India?
That is affirmative. India Foxtrot India.
Roger, Roger, sir. And you're in South Carolina in your Mobile or what?
I am Mobile on I-20 westbound going to Augusta, Georgia. Yourself?
Roger. Well, that Mobile's smoking. You got a smoking Mobile there, sir. And we are doing our Qso-Vlog recording, so you're just in time to get your audio on it. If you're curious about what your Mobile is sounding like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, there's a segment that will be called My Group Airchecks, and the date 10/26/18, the date 10/26/18, and the frequency 7193. Roger, Roger.
Affirmative. Very good. I don't think I'll remember that, but while I'm driving, but I will try to remember it when I get home this afternoon. I'm going to the VA in Augusta, Georgia, and that's what I'm doing at the present moment. What's your location?
Sir, we're near Louisville, Kentucky. We're just across the river from downtown Louisville in Indiana. Roger.
Affirmative. I know exactly where you are. Been there, done that. Many years.
Well, all right, Bill. Let me say threes to you, sir, and I'll let you get back to driving. But that Mobile's smoking. And like I say, that YouTube page we'll be uploading this Qso in the next couple of days. It will be a couple of days from now. We'll have it by a couple of days. We'll have it uploaded to YouTube. So if you did a search for KC9VKV in a couple of days, it should be there. Roger, Roger.
Thank you for the Qso.
Roger, Roger, and your signal was about 6 dB above my noise level. Last transmission was about 6 dB above my noise level. I'm looking at your audio on the output of my receiver. The RF in the front end is tuned real low, just enough to get the job done, so I can't give you an accurate S meter reading, but my VU meter reading was you were 6 dB above my noise level. So 3Z away, and you have a good day. And this is, incidentally, this is the Happy Halloween Qso-Vlog show, and I have a I have a special treat. I have IGOR'S Qso power amp on display. This is a video thing. You won't see it on your radio, but let me just check out IGOR'S Qso power amp. I don't know if you can hear that. but there's 4 rather odd tubes, like a PA final, and they are kind of doing all kinds of sparking, and that's the IGOR'S power amp. And this is KC9VKV doing our Qso-Vlog recording for Friday morning. If you have a station you want to check the audio on, give us a shout. And we are recording, and we'll post it in the next couple of days up on YouTube, and you'll be able to go there and hear what your station sounds like. KC9VKV.
KC9VKV, this is November 0, Tango Lima Whiskey.
November 0 again, please. You were phonetically.
Yes, November 0, Tango Lima Whiskey.
November 0 Tango Lima Whiskey. Is that a Roger?
Roger.
Roger, catching a little bit of blow-by here. Oh, interesting. Yeah, what's your name there, sir?
Tango, Oscar, Mike, and calling from, transmitting from Central Iowa. Good morning to you.
I'll tell you what, man, let me, hang on just a minute. I'm getting a lot of QRM from some good folks that obviously causing a problem. Let me check out another frequency, sir. I'll be right back. If you could stand by.
Roger.
This is KC9VKV, frequency in use. Negative, getting QRM on this frequency going back. This is KC9VKV to Tom. You still there, buddy?
Yes, I sure am. Go ahead.
Roger. I just dropped down to 7189, and there was a QRM there too. So here we are to stay on 7193. So I forgot exactly, where did you say you were?
I'm in Central Iowa, in Des Moines.
In Iowa, okay. And what's your station like?
Well, I'm running 100 watts and a wire in the backyard. I've got an IC7300 working on a tower. And heard your call and thought I'd just say hello.
Roger, Tom. Well, you're giving me 6 dB above my noise level. 6 dB above my noise level. I'm assuming you're running right at 100 watts, Roger?
Yeah, that's a Roger. And you're, of course, S959 plus about 24.
Roger. And I always ask folks to check their ALC to be sure that their modulation is up to snuff. And you might want to do that on your next transmission. Just pop over to your ALC and be sure you're mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
All right, very good. I will check that. I sure don't want to overmodulate.
Well, actually, it's not a case of overmodulating. It's a case of checking to be sure you're not undermodulating, Roger.
All right, I appreciate that clarity. I will do that.
Roger, I guess it's like, is the glass half full or half empty, you know? It's just, ALC readings are really important. I mean, it just tells you exactly what you're doing outside of equalization. Now, it doesn't, it can't really do much with equalization, but it can tell you a lot about your modulation level and where you need to be, Roger.
Roger, I appreciate that. Yeah, I just got this new microphone. It's the Icon F mic, Trigger Mic 50, and I have had it turned down a bit, so I've just turned up the modulation a little bit on the radio, and perhaps that made a little bit of difference.
Oh, you just turned it up now?
I did, that's correct.
Roger, made a difference. Did make a difference. You know, that's the thing. Like I say, your ALC is tremendously important, particularly when you change mics, because not all mics are created equal. And so when you put a new mic on, the first thing you should do is go to that ALC and be sure that that mic is working out like it should be, you know, like mid-scale to 2/3. We want to run that ALC mid-scale to 2/3. And like I say, sometimes this is there can be up to a 10 dB difference maybe between dynamic microphones, more than that on condensers if you run through a preamp and all that stuff. Roger.
Roger that. Well, I appreciate it. Just got my license in August and upgraded to X-ray in September. So it's a little bit new to me, although I did have a novice license back in the 70s. It's certainly a great hobby, and I'm enjoying all the learning.
Roger. Let's see, and what was the name again?
Name here is Tom, Tango Oscar Mike.
Roger, Tom. If you would, why don't you maybe pop up a couple of clicks higher on your mic, and let's see what it does as far as hanging together there.
All right, thanks. I'll give that a try. Give me a moment. All right, how about now?
All right, maybe talk to me just a little bit. What kind of antenna you running there?
Well, it's an off-center fed dipole. It's going up in the backyard about 30 feet high.
All right, conditions kind of got you there. Kind of have faded out just a little bit. Maybe she'll fade back in here. Let's try one more time. KC9VKV.
KC9VKV, this is N0CLW. I'll give it one more try. I'm headed out to do some rock climbing, indoor rock climbing here in Iowa. And I'll make some go at this time. Sure, appreciate the Qso. I've enjoyed it, and it gives me a little bit more feedback on the microphone, which I greatly appreciate. Over.
Roger. Well, it probably, like I say, the most important reading you're going to get on that radio is your ALC, and in a single sideband, your audio level determines your RF level. And if you have a low audio level, your RF level will be much affected. Absolutely. Direct relationship between the audio modulation level and your RF output. Roger?
Roger that. Well, thanks again. And 73 from Central Iowa. This is November 0, Tango Lima Whiskey,
Roger, Tom. And like I say, today is our Qso-Vlog recording day, Friday mornings. We're usually on 7189, but because of outstanding conditions, we are on 7193. But anyway, we are recording, and if you would like to hear what your station sounds like, we'll be posting this recording on YouTube in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page you'll find a section called My Group Aircheck. My Group Aircheck, and today's date 10/26/18, and the frequency 7193. So that will be this recording. Roger.
Roger that. And thank you again. N0CLW.
Roger. In that last transmission, you were 6 dB above my noise level. 6 dB. So 3 is Tom. Catch you later, sir. Have a good day. This is KC9VKV. I've got one station or two that's below my noise level. You are below my noise level. Try one more time. Let's see if conditions might be changing.
November 5, Whiskey Delta, Germany, 5 WBC.
The November 5 station, repeat your call again, please.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, November 5, conditions went the other way, and you did just totally fade out. November 5, you did just totally fade out. Maybe later on conditions might be better. If you see my signal better, give me a shout, and maybe we'll have better conditions for you coming in this way. But right now, you are well below my noise level. You just faded out. So 3 is out of the way, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and the Friday morning Qso-Vlog recording session.
Kilo 4, Oscar India Whiskey.
Oscar India Whiskey station, go.
Yes, sir. I was just jumping in real quick. I'm supposed to meet KE4IFI here, and if he's here, we need to move to another frequency. I didn't want to interfere with you.
Oh, not a problem. Go ahead, and you want to try him again?
Thank you, sir. KE4IFI, KE4IFI, K4OIW. No response. Thank you, sir, for letting me jump in real quick. Have a good day. K4IW, we're clear.
Roger, roger. Well, we are doing our Friday morning Qso-Vlog recording, sir. And usually we're on 7189, but we had to move up because of some activity on a next door frequency. So anyway, you are recorded, and if you want to hear what your station sounds like, we'll be posting this recording on YouTube in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll find a session that's called My Group Aircheck, My Group Aircheck, and the frequency 7193, and the date, that's the important thing, 10/26/18. So it will read My Group Aircheck, date 10/26/18, frequency 7193. Roger.
Thank you, sir. Well, hopefully I don't sound that bad that I scare myself. Take care. K4IW, we are clear.
Roger, roger. 3 is that away, sir. And we have some lost soul tuning up on the frequency. You never ever want to tune up on an active frequency. Not considered good form. This is KC9VKV with the Friday morning Qso-Vlog recording session. If you've got a station you want to check the audio on, give us a quick shout. We'll be recording, and we are recording now, and we'll post it on YouTube in the next couple of days, and you'll be able to go there and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and then on that page there'll be a session called My Group Aircheck, 10/26/18, the date, and frequency 7193. This is KC9VKV.
Kilo 8, Tango Lima Charlie.
Tango Lima Charlie, come back with your call again.
It's Kilo 8, Tango Lima Charlie.
Roger, roger. What's the name there?
The handle here is Ron, Romeo Oscar November.
Roger, roger, Ron. Nice signal there. Where are you?
Portland, Michigan.
Beautiful signal. What kind of power are you running there?
Probably 50 watts.
Hey, are you serious?
Serious. I do have I was going to have you check my amplifier. I just have that ICOM PW1, and I was going to see what it sounded like, but it sounds like I'm getting in pretty good there.
Well, I mean, don't spoil the party. Fire up. Let's see where it goes. Right now, you're 10 dB above my noise level, but we are recording, so we'll just see how much better that amp is. Roger.
Roger that. I just put it on. I'm putting out about 200 amps, 200 watts. I'm sorry. And does it make any difference?
You're about 15 dB over my noise level, Sound like your audio might have been a little strange. You might have pulled off mic or something. I'm not real sure. Come back, stay on mic, and talk to me for a minute.
All right. What it is, I've just got this ICOM 7610, and I'm trying to tie it together in this ICOM PW1, and I'm not used to the controls on this yet, and I'm trying to set it up.
Roger that. Well, what it sounds like is that your microphone is putting plosives into your compressor and it's sucking it back. Do you have a windscreen you could put on your mic?
What I've got is I just took the compression off. I only had it at 20%, but I turned the compression off, and the mic is the one that comes with the Pro Set 7 from I can't pull it off. It's already on there. KTLC.
Roger. But do you have a windscreen, a foam windscreen around or on the mic?
Yes, I do.
Wow, that's not a very good windscreen, sir. It's letting a lot of transients go through, and what's happening is that wind power is making it through your windscreen and just inundating your diaphragm with a heavy velocity, and it just sucks the volume right down for a quarter of a second, then it recuperates and comes back up. But I would suggest seriously getting a much better windscreen, Roger.
Roger that. I did back the mic away from my face. I usually keep it within an inch. I got it about 2 inches away. Does that make a difference?
It's still trying to suck down on the beginning of the syllable. Do you do you happen to have a sock? I mean, just a sock, a regular sock. We'll try an experiment, Roger.
I'm in the basement right now. I did turn the mic gain down 8%. Does that make a difference?
That's helping a lot. Let's see, maybe down just a little bit more, and then we could maybe try to bring up the compressor and see where that goes.
Sorry for the wait. I actually bumped the dial, and I changed frequency. Okay, I dropped it down to 9%. The handler here is Ron. Is your name Jim? Go ahead.
Roger, yeah, Jim, Juliet, India, Mike, and we're located near Louisville, Kentucky, just across the river. I think we're getting into a better situation there. It doesn't seem to be sucking down quite as much. Gosh, I wish we had something just to put over that mic to eliminate the acoustical plosives possibilities. That's what it sounds like to me, but I can't be sure until we put a little bit better filter on there and see what that does. Roger.
Roger that. Okay, what I did do is I pulled the sock off my old I got another station here off and I was wondering if that made a difference. It's I do have another sock on there.
Yeah, I have no plosive problems now. You're clean as far as sucking down. Now I would engage the compressor at about a 3. If you have a 1 to 10, I would engage the compressor at about a 3. If it's a 0 to 100, I would do it at 30. Roger, Roger.
Roger that. What I've got here is the control on it is in a menu, and what I've got the compression set at wide. I'd have to go through there and try and reset it up. What I could do is check out and come back in a bit after I get this straightened around.
Roger. Well, I would just forget the compressor for right now. You're doing well. See, the compressor is just going to give you a fatter audio sound. If you get your dynamic range down to about a 3 dB dynamic range, you will sound twice as loud as what you do in a non-processed situation, because the average peak modulation of unprocessed audio is about 30%. That's the average peak modulation. Whereas then when you start to process it, you will approach maybe a 4 dB dynamic range or a 3 dB dynamic range, and that's a nice fat signal, Roger.
Roger that. What I do have is I did set it up where the treble, the center frequency is up +3, and the bass is down a -2. That's the setting it's at right now.
Roger. You might try adding a tad on the bottom end. Now, that's EQ is a kind of a thing where you have to do it gradually from the one end and then do it from the other end. But I think maybe you could take a couple of clicks on the bottom end to kind of help your tonality. Right now, you're fairly thin, Roger.
Roger that. I'll go ahead and set that down then.
Roger, can you do that now?
Yes, I can, but I have to bring the menu up.
Roger, Roger. And the next most important thing is to stay your proximity to microphone. You need to figure out where you want to be and stay right there, because if you pull off mic, your signal is going to suffer. So I'll let you do your menu thing there. Are you pretty familiar with your menu? And he said, yes, I am. Flipping through them pages and say, hey, where's, and why not, and where'd that go?
Go ahead and program it back in.
I'm sorry, we doubled.
All right, I was trying to set it up between transmissions, and it didn't, I didn't have any luck, because I was trying to, whenever I talk, I lose the menu and I go back to the main screen, so I have to reset it up. So it just takes just a moment to set it up.
Roger, Roger. Well, you go ahead and do that, and I will just expound upon the menu that retracts itself back to where it was before I stupidly said go somewhere. In my estimation, a menu should go where I tell it to go, and it should stay there until I tell it to go somewhere else. This stuff of the menu deciding where it's going to go is BS. That's stupid design. Particularly, it's so nerve-wracking, because when you're just coming along with a new radio, you don't know really what you're doing, but you get to where you want to go, and before you can figure out exactly what to do where you went, the menu decides, you're stupid, I'm going back to where I was and wait for you. And it just causes so much consternation and confusion. If the menu would just go and stay where I put it, it would be beautiful.
Roger that. This is KTLC for ID. Okay, I did adjust the bass up to 0, and and I moved the treble down to +2. Now this is without the windsock on. And this is with the windsock. I mean, that was with the windsock off. Now it's with the windsock on. Which is better?
Well, obviously, the windscreen on is better, because, like I say, you're still getting transients in that microphone into the audio system, and it's sucking down for the first quarter of a second on the word, or eighth of a second. So you definitely want to keep the windscreen on any mic that you use with that radio, Roger.
Roger that. Well, this Pro set comes with it has a windsock on it, but it's it's only about a 1/2 inch in diameter, and they got it tie wrapped on there. The windsock I have on the other mic is, about 2 inches in diameter, and I could just put a tie wrap around it and just use that for now, I guess. Anyways, what do you think of the volume on it?
Well, I can't tell because it's fairly unprocessed as far as fattening up. It's pretty loose. Do you have an ALC reading?
Yes. See the ALC. Oh yeah, looks like it's pretty high here. It's kicking up about mid-range. I should back that down.
No, actually, mid-range is probably where you need to be. Middle ALC possibilities, mid-scale of the ALC reading.
Yeah. Okay. On the PW1 amplifier, it does have a meter, regular standard meter, and it shows that I'm barely kicking it up at all. Matter of fact, I'm not putting out much power at all here.
All right. Your ALC should. Well, let's see here. I'm trying to think. In your regular ALC position, as you speak into the microphone at your normal proximity to the microphone, what reading do you have on the ALC meter?
Well, the ALC is barely moving. Let's see here. And I'm only putting out about 100 watts. So I definitely, this is not set up properly. I don't know, let's see here. It's I'm unfamiliar with the rig, so it's a little hard here. Okay, I changed the settings on the mic gain, put it back to 12%, and it doesn't seem to make much difference in the ALC. I might not be putting out enough power. I'm only putting out, I'm only driving the amplifier with about 50 watts. So, anyways, I should play with this some more, maybe, and get back with you. KTLC.
KC9VKV. Well, I tell you, can you look at your ALC reading? Can you look at your ALC meter and adjust your mic volume at the same time?
Maybe if I had more time with the rig. I hate to say it. Let's see here. I have to go into a menu and it doesn't have a knob for it, and so I have to say that's a no. All I got is RF power and mic gain, and let's see here. I don't have an ALC adjustment. I'm just supposed to keep the ALC down. Actually, I've been using this. I've been using the station for digital, so you don't want any ALC at all. So I just set it up for this contest tonight and give it a try. KTLC back.
KC9VKV. Well, there is no direct adjustment for the ALC. ALC is a reflection of your audio level. So the adjustment for the ALC is your mic gain. And as you turn your mic gain up, your ALC reading will start to deflect upwards towards mid-scale. And the ideal position for the ALC is in the middle of its operating range to 2/3 to the right of its operating range. And that's all controlled by your mic gain. And you do have an anomaly as far as something going on the attack of the word. So I would, by all means, keep your windscreen on until you can figure that out. And that windscreen does minimize that problem. So I would go somewhere, and I would transmit, and I would be looking at my ALC reading as I'm transmitting, and I would have my mic gain on the menu open, and as I spoke, I would be turning my mic gain up to where my ALC was reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. I went ahead and adjusted that, but my gain up, I'm still not getting any much movement on it. So I'll do that. And I appreciate it, Jim. And I'll check it out in a few days on YouTube, see what it sounds like. If I have some luck with it, I'll check back in with you a little bit later on today. Thank you very much. KC9VKV from KC9VKV. Have a good day.
Roger, roger, Ron. It just sounds like your audio system limiter is getting spooked. It sounds like your audio limiter is getting spooked, or your compressor is getting spooked. Something that, you know, you only got two things there. You've got your compressor, and I'm assuming that's out of the line, so the only other thing is your ALC, and it sounds like it's getting spooked by the audio level somehow at the beginning of the words, and it sucks that first part of the word way down and then recovers in the next half a second or so. So I would just look into that. 3's Ron, and maybe, you know, if you need more checks or get it figured out, give us a shout back. This is KC9VKV and our Qso-Vlog recording for Friday morning. If you have a radio that you want to check out, give us a shout. We are recording, and we'll post that back up on YouTube. And you'll be able to do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And when you get there, you'll find one session that's marked My Group Aircheck, and the date 10/26/18, and the frequency is 7193. This is KC9VKV.
Whiskey 9 Alpha Lima Sierra.
Kilo Charlie 8, Romeo.
Whiskey 9 Station. Whiskey 9 Station, come back with a call sign, please.
Yes, sir. It's Whiskey 9 Alpha Lima Sierra, and I wanted to mention something to you. I'm talking to you on an Icon 7610, and it not only has a mic gain, it also has a drive. So I can turn a drive up and have it put more ALC out with less mic gain.
Oh, really? Huh. I'm not familiar with that, Roger. Is it like another volume control in the mic circuit?
Yes, it's a completely different part of. There's a mic gain on. In other words, I can turn the mic gain up and down, and then I also can turn the drive up and down.
Roger, roger. Well, interesting. Your audio, that last transmission, you're doing about 3 dB dynamic range, so it's got some excellent processing, Roger.
Yes, I don't have the processor on the wall even. Yeah, this is a Jabra wireless microphone I'm talking on. It works pretty good. But I thought I should say something to you about that. It's in the new 7610, this newest radio that ICAM came out with.
Roger, was that after the 7300?
Yes, sir.
Roger, roger. I hope it performs as well as the 7300, Roger.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be the really super one. It's the new SDR radio. And one thing that you can use it for then is you can get your mic gain right, and then if you want to drive the amplifier a lot harder or easier, you just turn that gain up and down.
Roger. It just sounds a little bit redundant, you know, but whatever works. And yours sounded, I could tell the difference between the one and the other, you know, and I could see how they could both work together.
Yep, and I don't know, how does my radio sound now? Does my mic sound good?
Yeah, your dynamic range was reduced quite a bit there, so you were getting a fatter signal, Roger.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go turn the drive up and down.
All right. I'm sorry, did you say you were going to turn the drive up and down?
but I just realized I didn't have my glasses on, so I turned them on and can see what I'm doing.
All right, that looked about 2 dB, about a 2 dB dynamic range there. And I'm sure you understand the dynamic range. That is, as the signal fattens, the dynamic range is reduced. Like with unprocessed signal, you're running maybe 10 dB dynamic range or so, just wide open there. And then as you start compressing or limiting, as you start to fatten that signal, your dynamic range starts to decrease until you reach an optimum at about 3 dB, 2 dB, and that's in the area of if you have a nearby blower, it starts posing a problem. Roger?
Okay, Roger. Now I turned the drive game up a little bit, and I left mic turned where it was.
Roger, that sounds good. Whatever you do, man.
Yep, so I can turn it up. I went from like 40% up to 60% on the drive gain, and naturally it's driving the radio harder now.
Oh, Roger, yeah, your signal there was like a dB and a half dynamic range. I mean, I'm looking at the output of this receiver. I'm looking at the audio out on a VU meter, so I can tell precisely what your modulation's doing. And that last one, your dynamic range was about a dB and a half. I've never seen one quite that fat.
Yes, and I can also, this has got a scope on it, and it can look at my modulation on the scope, and it also has another, I can't think of what the meter's called, that you can look at the same time.
Roger, fat module. Now, audio-wise, I would bring the top end up just a skosh. Because, the first thing that happens when you get down the road is if you have any phase angle reflection, the top end is the first thing that gets rolled as far as phase cancellation. When that other band on up above the normal reflection band starts feeding back, the time delay, it just starts the top end to roll out. And so I would always run with just a little bit more top end than what you would think. Hello. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor with the Friday morning Qso-Vlog recording. Hark! There's somebody climbing up out of their waveform.
What I did is I touched the wrong button here, and I shut the wireless microphone off. All right, now I can adjust the gain on the microphone. I went to 33% there, and then now I'm at 40%, and now I'm up to 50%. So I can adjust the mic. Now this is back where I started at, right about there.
Yeah, Roger. That the most intense was about about 1 dB dynamic range. So if you can see a VU meter just hanging up there at 0 to a -1, 0 to a -1, that's where that meter was as you spoke all the way through, Roger.
Okay. Am I too much on the mic gain now?
No, it sounds beautiful. I would run it just like that, man. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, thank you. Yeah, see, so it's really kind of neat. I can turn the mic gain up and then the drive. If I keep the mic gain where it's at now, and I want to drive, say I'm only barefoot now, but if I want to push my amp harder, I just go into where the drive gain is, and I can turn it up to where to put 1500 out, or I can put it down to 500 out, and at the same time keep the mic gain the same.
Roger that. Roger that. Now, the only other question is, obviously there is an association between distortion and dynamic range, and usually as you push the dynamic range aspects, you come up with a little more distortion than where you would if you were, say, running at about a 3 dB dynamic range. Roger?
I gotcha. Okay, now I turned on my audio scope, and I can see with a waveform exactly where my high and low parts of my speech are, and on the other side, there's another part of the scope that shows the width of my signal.
Roger. It really looks good. It really sounds good now. We are recording, so if you want to go to YouTube in the next couple of days and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll find one session that's marked my group Qso, actually my group Airchecks, and the date 10/26/18 and the frequency 7193. Roger.
Roger that. And this radio also, I am recording our conversation at the same time.
Roger, roger.
So they've added a lot of stuff in these new SDR radios, and the receiver on them is just unbelievable compared to regular analog receivers.
Oh, Roger, Roger. I have found most analog receivers have a real mid-range hump at about 1 kc or 1.5 kc, as much as 6 or 7 dB above flat.
Right, and these new radios like this one, this is the first SDR radio that's come out, and a whole different world now.
Roger, Roger. Now, when you listen to band noise, without a signal, just band noise, you can, do you have the capability of looking at a spectrum analyzer in that mode?
Yes, sir, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, just the band noise without the audio, and you should be flat, frequency spectrum-wise, just by looking at the channel band noise from 300 cycles to 6?
Yeah, about somewhere in there. It's not. Depends on where I got my RF gain set at.
Roger, but your RF gain would only be amplifying the band spectrum that's there. So I wouldn't think that the RF gain would affect the band frequency response as far as band pass.
All right, right now I got it at 30 dB minus, and let me turn it down. I'll shut up for a second and see if it does. It actually does get thinner, I guess you could say. When I turn the gain up and down, I can turn it down to where there's no noise at all, and naturally it doesn't see it in the radio.
Roger, Roger. But I mean, just turn it up to like normal, and then look at the band pass on the spectrum analyzer, and that should be just linear across. Is that a Roger?
Yes, it is. Well, it's got some little bitty high and low peaks in it, but it is linear across, yes.
Roger, Roger. Well, that's what you want. And then, when you're listening to somebody, the receiver is not interjecting any peaks or valleys as such. It's a linear translation between what's coming into the receiver, spectrum-wise, audio-wise, in the center pass of the band.
Right, so it's really kind of neat. I mean, it's a whole different world than what we're used to in old days. I'm in my 70s now, so I've been playing with these ever since my KWM-2A in the Air Force, and it's so much neater to have these newer ones.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was dismayed by there's what's his name out in Dallas, Texas, I think it is. That 3916 group, he does a lot of the recording for that group, and he's using SDR, and just his audio, you know, it sounded like a telephone line. It was just, I mean, just so quiet.
Yep. Well, thank you for your time, and I'm going to kind of jump out of here. You might not believe it or not, but this is a headset. It's made by IGOR'S, the kind that the ladies use at the switchboards with the telephones. And we got it modified a little bit so it'll work on the radio, so I can walk 180 feet away from the radio and still hear and talk on it.
Oh, Roger, yeah, I talked to a guy that was doing that, and he wound up in the alley out back of his house about, about 400 feet or so, and he had to tell me where he was because it just sounded beautiful.
Yep, and the nice part about it, most of them that people are using now work off of Bluetooth, but this is some kind of, I forgot what it's called, something that Jabra has come up with so that they don't have to compete with the Bluetooth spectrum.
Roger, and the frequency response is really nice. It's got a nice bright top end, Roger.
Roger. I do have a Heil PR40 up here, but I got to do a lot of changes to switch between the two. And hopefully that one sounds, that $400 microphone sounds a little bit better than this $100 one does.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to comment, but you're sounding great as you are.
I understand. Well, Mr. Heil now, I heard you talking about windscreens, and he said he designed two new screens in this microphone on the PR40, and then he put away with the foam-type filters.
Oh, these are internal filters?
He's got two different size screens on the mic, and they work as, it's got a filter on, a small filter on the inside of it, yes, on the element itself, but then he's got a larger and a small screen, and that's supposed to diffuse it also.
Roger. Well, I spent 50 years in broadcasting, so I have developed a certain technique for mic operation, and it's usually really tight. And obviously, I have to use a windscreen. So, but the thing about tight miking is that you minimize any kind of background anomalies. Like I have today, this is the Halloween show, and I have IGOR'S Qso power amp in the background, and this is like 4 very large, strange-looking tubes with plate wires coming up to the caps, and I hit a button here, and I don't know. Let's see. I don't know if you can hear that, but these lights are flashing. This is a visual. You gotta understand. This is a visual. Well, it is an audio too, if you can copy the mail there a little bit, but these lights are flickering and flashing, and we call that IGOR'S Qso power amp, Roger.
Oh yeah, it sounds like you stuck IGOR'S head into a fan.
Roger that. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure, and I think you will enjoy your audio when you check it out on YouTube, Roger.
All right, I will do that. And I'm sure you must know Bobby Heil, too.
Oh, yeah, I've recorded Bob a couple of times.
There you go. All right, hey, good talking to you. And give me that address again for where the YouTube's going to be.
Roger, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. That will take you to the Qso page, and then on that page there will be a section called My Group Aircheck, and the date 10/26/18, and the frequency is 7193. So that's how you'll be able to tell that's the session you're looking for. We do usually so many contacts that we can't put everybody's call sign on the title, so we just do by date and by frequency. Roger.
I gotcha. Yeah, mine's a vanity call anyhow. It's my name. Whiskey 9 Alpha Lima Sierra. That's my name, Al Smith. Have a great day.
Roger. And the name was Al?
Yes, sir.
Roger, Roger. Al 3 is really sounding good, man. Appreciate the drop by. And normally, like I say, we'll be Friday mornings on 7190-89, but today we had some QRM, so we had to move up. And we are doing another thing. We are checking the differences between propagation of morning and afternoon. Like I say, this one is our 10:30, but we will be trying again this afternoon at about 3:30 to see if our 100-watt friends will be coming in maybe a little bit better with better conditions. Roger?
Roger on that. Yeah, I'm barefoot now. I'm only putting out about, let's see, about 70 watts right there. Okay, we'll talk to you again someday. Thank you for all your help.
Roger, Roger. You're still 10 dB above my noise level. So 3 is that away. I'll catch you later. It's KC9VKV and our Friday morning Qso-Vlog recording.
Oh, I forgot to tell you where I'm at. I'm down in the southern part of Alabama.
Oh, Roger. Well, we're up just across the river from Louisville, on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Kentucky.
7-3.
3 is that away. And we are running now at 12:15. Normally we close off at about noontime, and we run between 10:30 and noon on Friday mornings. But today we're running just a little bit long. If there's somebody out there that wants a quick air check, come ahead.
November 5, Whiskey Delta Golf.
November 5, Whiskey Delta Golf. Go ahead.
Yeah, November 5, Whiskey Delta Golf. Tried to get a little earlier today, but you couldn't hear me. Hopefully this is a little better.
Roger, sir. You are 7 dB above my noise level. Roger.
Thank you very much. The name on this is Thomas, and I'm down in Madison, Mississippi, and running a little set of Drake Twin R4C and R4C with the D104 microphone. So I'm not sure what kind of report you can give me, but not real fancy setup.
Thomas, you might try to come up on mic just a little bit. I think you might have pulled off mic there.
Okay, is that better, Tim? Over?
Yes, sir. That is better.
Yeah, this old D104, I gotta just about be straight into it. Over.
Roger, is that an amplified D104?
Negative. It's passive. Over.
Roger. Well, it doesn't sound as bright as what I would have thought a D104 without an internal amp would be. Usually they go pretty close to sheet 10, Roger, without the amp.
Roger, yeah. Well, this, like I said before, it's a fair Drake Twin, only peaking about 80 to 100 watts right now in Carolina Wyndham. So I tried you earlier on my little set tech, and I just couldn't make it work on the end that I have on in. But I appreciate you coming to me back.
Roger, last transmission was 5 dB above my noise level. And what is the Drake radios?
It's R4C and a C4XC, and I've got the matching MS4 speaker here. Over.
Roger. I have as a gift when I first started into ham radio a TR4C, Drake TR4C. It's a two box set, and the book calls for like 300 watts. I'm sure that's PEP, and I'm sure that's with new tubes. Roger.
Roger. Yeah, this is pretty. It's pretty old. It was I picked it up secondhand from a friend of mine, and I haven't had a chance to really go through it, but it seems to do a good job on some of the local nets, and it's fun to fool around with. And I'm a tube guy. Enjoy playing with Gold Rings. Got some Collins here around the shack here as well. Anyway, I won't hold you. I know there's some other stations out there probably want to come get an audio check from you, but I appreciate you picking me up.
Roger, Thomas. Well, like I say, that D104 is a bit shy on the bottom end. It is a little shy on the bottom end, but it's a great DX microphone. It will cut through for sure. 3 is that way, Thomas. You have a good day, and if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and this Qso will be entitled My Group Aircheck, date 10/26/18, and the frequency is 7193. Roger.
Roger. Thanks a lot, Jim. Yep, I've already been on YouTube and taken a look at some of your previous videos. Take care.
care and enjoy your weekend. KC9VKV from November 5, Whiskey Delta Golf 73.
Roger, Roger, Thomas. 3's that away, and we will be uploading this within the next couple of days. We'll be uploading this within the next couple of days. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Oh, and one other thing, this afternoon we will be doing another check on hopefully 7189 of conditions prevailing at 3:30 with 100-watt stations in the 300 to 400 mile range, as far as trying to figure out what the best propagation times are in the morning or in the afternoon. So anybody listening want to check in this afternoon at about 3:30 on 7189, do so. Catch you later. We've enjoyed it. This is the Halloween special concluding. 3's all. KC9VKV is clear.